Hello, my lovelies, and a big welcome back to the Bliss and Thrive podcast. It is your host, Caris Anderson here, and I'm really excited about today's episode because we're going to be talking about our cycle. Yes, we all have it. It is either the bane of your life or you're totally in tune with yourself and you love it, but probably everyone feels some symptoms and it can affect our training and nutrition. So it's a huge topic and we're going to delve into it today. So I work with a lot of women and we have to take into account when we're working with women's nutrition and training and your overall mood, we have to take into account our cycle. It affects everything more than you realize. So I've been talking to a lot of my clients about their cycle recently and just how much it does affect your training. So I want to delve into today exactly what's happening in our cycle, how our hormones are changing, exactly what's happening to our body, and how you can use it to enhance your training, how you can combat those sweet, sugary cravings that keep derailing you each time of the month. And we're going to really delve into it today and get all of those questions answered. So I actually wrote all the notes for this episode last year. And I think I actually recorded it, but in the end I didn't put it out because I personally hadn't actually started my period back after having my baby. I was breastfeeding and I think I ended up getting the period back at maybe 9 or 10 months after she was born. And I tell you now, I was like a monster. I honestly thought I would have to be committed. I thought, oh my God, I've got manic depression. What the hell is going on with me? I didn't understand what was happening to me. And then I came on my period. And I was like, aha. And I'm glad I didn't put that podcast out before I came back on my period, because since then, and when I've been having my cycle now, I have been thinking of all the hormonal changes that your body goes through each month. And I've been able to feel them, because before I had Indy, I was on the contraceptive pill and not having a natural cycle. And so now I really feel my cycle. I feel really in tune with myself, and I feel like I'm in an even better place to chat about all this stuff and do this podcast. So it was all meant to be. And I tell you now, if you ever have a baby, that first period that you have when he comes back, yeah, it's intense. It's intense hormonally. Your hormones are crazy. But what I want to say, first of all, at the beginning of this podcast, is that our body as a woman is flipping incredible. Every single month we go through these hormonal changes, this cycle. We create potential life in our body every single month. And when you dive into exactly what goes on in your body, you feel so powerful as a woman, and you feel so proud to be a woman, I think, that we go through so much, and we're bound to get moody at times of the month because of these hormonal shifts that happen every month. And it doesn't just happen in the build up to your period, it happens at other times in your cycle too. So if you're ever feeling a bit off and a bit like, I just don't feel myself, I'm feeling a bit down today, a bit low energy, check to see where you're at in your cycle. Make a note. Does it happen every time in your cycle on that particular day? And this can just help you become, feel like a more sane person, because our hormones are doing their thing in our body and we show the effects of it outwardly. So first of all, I just want to say that as women, we are bloody incredible. But let's dive into what is actually happening in our cycle. Okay, so your cycle is broken down into two main stages, the follicular and the luteal. In the follicular stage, this is where you are shedding your womb lining and you are actually having your period. So in this phase, your hormones are in a place that makes you feel energized and your mood comes back up. Your estrogen levels are high, your testosterone levels are high, which actually means it's a great time for strength training. I will repeat that again. In your follicular stage, which is when you actually have your period, and that week after your period, you are at your peak, your strongest. So this is the point where you can hit some PBs, pick up those heavier weights, really attack your workouts, and get in some strength training. How cool is that? Like, we can feel powerful as women when we are on our period, and our mood is good and we feel powerful. That is what the science is saying. That's what the hormones are doing in our body at that point. Now, I'm sure you're sitting there right now going, no, Karis. When I'm on my period, I just want to, curl up in a ball, stay in the house. I don't want to train. I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to do an at-home workout. What are you talking about? And I've seen this anecdotally from women in my fitness groups. This definitely happens. We definitely feel like, I see it all the time. I'm on my period this week, so my nutrition's off and my training's off. And I'm like, what is happening here? So I put a post up last year when I was going to record this podcast. I put a post up in my big group, Female Fitness Motivation, linked in the bio if you want to go check it out. Anyway, I put a post up in there saying, how do you guys feel when you're on your period? Do you feel stronger? Or do you feel like, you want to kind of cozy up, protect yourself, and you feel a bit weaker? And it was totally split down the middle. It was really 50-50. Half the people were saying one thing, half the people were saying the other thing. So what the hell is going on here? We've got science saying one thing, but anecdotally women are saying, the week they're on their period, they don't feel like training. My theory is this. We are conditioned to think that when we're on our period, that we're like ill. And I don't know whether this is from, our mothers' generations or before our grandmothers' generations, that it was almost, you were kind of like shunned when you're on your period and it's like taboo and you don't talk about it. So maybe you don't go to school. And I remember being at school, like if it was PE, we would use our period as an excuse to get out of PE. Kids would bring in a note, girls would bring in a note saying, I can't do, training today because I'm on my period. And if you think about that, we're conditioned to believe that, I'm on my period, I need to be under a duvet, bring out the chocolates because that's what you do when you're on your period. I don't want to use the word excuse, but it's like a free pass to have chill time and, not have to train, not have to do things because you are on your period. And you have the obvious symptom of being on your period, right? So it's a constant reminder that it's there as well. So I think that's what's happening when we keep seeing time and time again that women don't feel like training when they're on their period. I mean, I could be wrong, and I'm going to delve more into this subject, and I'm going to get some experts on in some future episodes from different sides of the story as well. But science says that our hormones are at their peak for your mood to be lifted and for you to be lifting heavy, okay? So think about that next time you're on your period. Have a little think like, how do I really feel right now actually? Am I just so conditioned to eating chocolate during my period that I'm starting to crave it because that's what I do each time of the month? Or, how am I really feeling? Start to really tune in with yourself. And everyone's different, of course, but I think it's really cool to be armed with this information. Then the next phase is the luteal phase. So this begins with ovulation. When your egg comes down, your womb lining is getting nice and thick, and we are getting ready to fertilize that egg. So in that time, our estrogen and progesterone levels are dipping and rising, and they're really unstable. So you may feel in that time that your mood is a little bit up and down, your energy is a little bit up and down. And then towards the end of that phase, when you're about to come on your period, that's when you get those premenstrual symptoms where you do feel more moody, more tired, and we have to really be aware of our energy levels in this phase, okay? So when we're training, we have to be aware if it's a day where we're feeling a bit low energy, maybe we just go with that, take a bit longer rest time, don't go hell for leather, but maybe one day you're feeling a bit better because your estrogen levels are a bit higher and you can go for it on that day. So it's really about becoming aware and in tune with your natural energy levels in your body. So in this phase as well, as we're building up our womb lining, it's getting nice and thick and cushy for that egg to come down, our metabolism goes up, and it goes up by about 10%, which means you are burning more calories. So that's the point where you start to feel a bit more cravings coming in because your body is actually burning more calories. And what's fast energy, carbohydrates, sugars, and that's what we automatically crave at that point. So I'm sure you can relate to that. Now, really what we need at that point is just more calories. So something like fat would be a much better thing for us to have. You have to be aware of, oh, it's my hormones making these cravings. What am I really after? Because while your estrogen and progesterone levels are going up and down, it's affecting your serotonin in your brain. So your serotonin is what makes you feel good, makes you feel happy. And when that dips, we look for something else to make us feel good and feel happy. And what is that? It's often chocolate. It's often sweeties, ice cream, cakes. It's that stuff makes us feel good, whether it's, ingrained in us from our childhood that makes us feel good, or actually just sugar is proven to make those sensors light up in your brain as well. So of course we're craving those things. But once you know it's just your serotonin levels dropping and your body's automatically looking to bring your serotonin levels back up again. So there's other things you can do to bring those serotonin levels back up. We can do other things that make us feel happy. We can call a friend, go out for a walk, watch our favorite movie, listen to a funny podcast, like bake something, whatever it is that makes you feel happy. Know that your body is just craving that. It just wants to feel good. So make yourself feel good. Run yourself a bubble bath and read your favorite book. Have something really nice to eat, maybe some gorgeous, rich, like your favorite chocolate or whatever. But do it because it's making you feel happy. Don't just go shoveling sugar in your mouth because you're like, I'm craving it. Like, do what makes you feel happy in that moment. Because the thing about when we eat sugar like that, we get a sugar high and then we get a come down from that sugar. And when we get a come down from that sugar, we feel like poo. Our mood goes down, we're grumpy, our energy goes down, and then that just completely defeats the object. So once you know that, all I'm doing is trying to make myself feel a bit better, you can start to do things according to that. Just to recap how you should structure your training in accordance to your cycle. So in that follicular stage, when you've come on your period, then we're going for like a bit more volume, a bit more strength. Our body's feeling really powerful. We can hit some PBs and really get some work done. Then when you go into that luteal phase, this might be the time for some more endurance work. This might be a bit lower weights, higher reps, but also being really aware of the days where your energy level might dip and you might want to do more of like a yoga session or Pilates or something like that. So just really being aware of what's happening to our body, using it to our advantage and becoming in tune with ourselves. I use an app called Flow to just track where my period is at. You can make little notes on there as well about what you're feeling during your cycle. And that just helps me be aware of, like, if I'm having a weird day, I'll just check where I'm at in my cycle and be like, I'm ovulating. I know I always feel tired when I ovulate. So I'm just going to let myself have a rest day, and you just shift my training around accordingly. So it's really nice to know those things. So I really hope that this was useful today. I hope that this, just knowing where your hormones are at in your cycle, helps you become a little bit more aware of what your body is really craving and what we're being conditioned to crave and what our body really can do and what we're almost conditioned to think our body can do, and realizing that women are flipping powerful. We have this amazing ability to create human life, and our body gets ready for it every single month. How crazy is that? I want to get an expert on to chat about more the female cycle and, like, stick with me, but like the moon and the lunar cycle, and a bit more of the woo-woo side of things as well, and the nature side of things, because I think that has a big part to play as well. So this is a more kind of technical hormones and science, and I have only touched the surface on everything. I don't like to delve into anything too deeply. I like to keep it quite simple. But something happened to me this month which really made me think. I always have a 28-day cycle, and I actually had a 3-week cycle, and I came on my period a week early, and I was like, what the hell's going on? And it was a full moon, and I came on my cycle on a full moon. And I'm not someone who's really into the moon. I don't know much about it, but all I do know is that each month when there is a full moon, my sleep is affected a little bit, and I just feel the effect slightly. I notice when it's a full moon. And so I text a friend who knows a lot about this, and I said, what's that all about? And she said, if you come on your period on a full moon, that it's more about outward energy. It's more about you giving to others, motivating others, helping other women, and sending that energy outwards to other women. And I'm really feeling obviously in line with that right now, and loving what I do, helping other women. And so it just all kind of tied together really well. So I thought maybe there's something in this. Either way, it's going to be a really interesting discussion. So I'm going to try and get someone on to chat about that side. But I really hope you enjoyed this episode. Let me know in the comments, how your period affects you, how you feel. Have you become aware of your energy levels, your cravings? I think the more we just become aware of what our body's doing, becoming in tune with ourselves, the better we can be with everything we do. I think we're too used to just going through life with our mind outwards, and we never just put the focus inwards and see how we're actually feeling. And amazing things can happen when you become mindful and become aware. So let me know if you enjoyed this one. If you're on YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe, all that jazz. Share this episode with a friend. Share the podcast. Check out my workouts on my YouTube channel as well. I do loads of little 10-minute workouts that you can fit into your day. If you are on your podcast app, then make sure that you leave a review for me and subscribe as well. And if you're wanting any help on your fitness journey, if you want that little motivation boost, I have a motivation booster kit that I've put together for you. It's completely free. I'll leave the link in the show notes for that. So make sure you grab that one, and I will be seeing you in the next episode.